Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hey!
It was Fastlane this last weekend, and it is time for us to review those results. And we're going to kick off with the pre-show, and for once, the pre-show actually has a little bit of storyline implication on it, because Riddle defeated Mustafa Ali for the United States title. Not too surprising, but it was the post-match that really propelled forward something that we could be getting.
Yeah,
who knows?
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely they could, because Retribution walked out on Mustafa Ali.
End of an era, really. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens, because it was a real slow one. Where just, members started to walk off, and then it looks like T-Bar and Mace might, at a minimum, stick around as a tag team, but we didn't actually get to see really any payoff or any continuation of this storyline at all, on Raw, from what I recall. So it's a little bit of a weird one. To be fair, Retribution weren't getting all too much steam anyway.
No, it's had such promise, and then everything just fell apart.
So this isn't necessarily the worst case in the world scenario. As much as I really love a lot of the guys in Reckoning, you got an Australian there, you got two massive men. Mia Yim's an amazing talent, and Ali's a great talent as well. It'll be interesting to see where they go from here. Was this just Ali kicking out or getting kicked out? Are the other four going to stick together? Is this everybody going their separate ways? We don't quite know what we're going to get.
No, but I think it is definitely time to just blow the issue up, and just move on.
I'm, especially with Raw's tag team division and the way it is right now, I'm definitely interested in Mace and T-Bar, whether they stick around with those names or whether they go back to Dominic and Dio being some form of tag team. I think it's something they don't have at the moment with the Viking Raiders out, so it could be interesting to keep those two around next to each other, and they're both great wrestlers as well, so it should be good to see what they do. The opening match on Fastlane's card, it's the Women's Tag Team Championship. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler successfully defending, thank God, against Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks.
Yeah, it was an alright match, but it ended as we thought, with the tag team champions retaining, and Bianca and Sasha at each other's throats.
Mm-hmm. Now, please, have the next feud or the next match for Jackson Baszler not involve one of the women's champions. Please. That's all I'm asking. I don't think it's that hard of an ask, is it?
Yeah, let's keep the main women's titles away from them. So the question now is, we know these two are going to face off at WrestleMania, Belair and Banks.
Mm-hmm.
So now the question becomes, who does Asuka face?
Well,
especially with Charlotte now as a big question mark of whether or not she'll actually be able to perform. So you may not get your prediction.
Yeah, my really early on prediction, but we may get half of it, because it looks as though Rhea Ripley has made her challenge. She thinks she's ready for Asuka.
That would be one heck of a debut, that's for sure.
Heck of a debut if she wins.
Yeah. Yes.
It's possible. It could happen. She could win.
Yeah, definitely is.
But yeah, the question marks around Charlotte, I think, basically, our Raw Women's title match is either going to be Asuka versus Rhea, or it's going to be Asuka versus Rhea versus Charlotte in a triple threat. I think those are our two options at the moment. And it all just depends on Charlotte's health. and whether she can make it to WrestleMania and stuff. I think if she's healthy and good to go for WrestleMania, they'll find her a spot on the card. But let's instead look at the Intercontinental Championship. Big E, he defended it against Apollo Crews, but it ain't over between these two.
I really like what they're doing with Apollo Crews right now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's definitely got a Christian Orton vibe here. One more match. But yeah, so this has been an interesting feud. I've really enjoyed it. Big E scrapes away by the skin of his teeth and then is annihilated by Apollo Crews after the match. So yeah, we're definitely getting another match at WrestleMania.
Which, to be fair, is where we thought these two would collide originally. It was just with the Fastlane slotting in here, we had to do something with the Intercontinental title.
Perfectly fair. So the question then becomes, does Apollo Crews capture the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania?
I think so.
I'm not so sure.
Okay.
Because I think they do want to give Big E a big moment.
Yeah.
Especially if they are working towards pushing him towards the top of the card. They may not want him to lose at WrestleMania. That said, they're doing big things with Apollo Crews, and people are actually interested for the first time. So it would be kind of a mistake not to strap him after this.
It'll be an interesting one when we get to see it.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, as you say, Apollo Crews is hot right now. And, not always necessarily WWE's MO, but you should strike while the iron is hot, right? And, yeah, Big E's got big things in his future. We will have to wait and see. I'm gonna attempt to unpack this next one. Right, so it was Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon. The match we thought we'd get at WrestleMania, we're getting it at Fastlane. Shane McMahon hurts himself in pre-pay-per-view training. He comes out with Elias. Elias plays some music. Then Shane interrupts him and says, "You're taking on Braun instead." And then he gets steamrolled.
Yeah, that was a flat note for Elias. Yeah, it's clear that this is going to be because on Raw, we actually got the announcement of the match.
Yeah.
At WrestleMania. So, yeah, so the question will be, what shenanigans can Shane McMahon come up with to win this time? Because I'm sorry, I'm still salty that he beat The Miz at WrestleMania.
That's fair.
Because The Miz deserved to win that match. But he won a world title about a year later, so I can't really complain that much.
But you can,
yeah,
you should.
Yeah. So, this will be a question of how bad do they want Strowman to look here?
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, he should by all rights kill Shane McMahon.
Oh yeah, it should be just as much of a steamrolling as this match against Elias on Fastlane.
Yeah. But Shane has a tendency to pull off stuff that you shouldn't be able to do. So, yeah, I'm not that interested in this match, but I'll watch it.
Shane McMahon is definitely jumping off the giant pirate ship or whatever set piece they're going to put up. And to do that, Braun Strowman usually has to be laying on his back, so somehow we got to get to that spot. But it might involve the usage of Elias and or Jackson Riker, because they seem to be in a temporary sort of alliance at the moment.
Ooh. How about this? Somebody who's not been seen since the draft.
Okay.
Dabo Kai.
Yeah.
Got him.
It would be interesting if he brought in his Raw Underground guys, that in theory, he's got this connection with, he's tight with. It could definitely be a good little set piece. Throwback.
Yeah, I mean, they bothered to draft him to Raw, and then they never used him. So, why not?
Let's slot in one more match before we go to the theme of the week. It's Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura in a good little match.
Yeah, clearly this is leading towards Seth versus Cesaro, because Shinsuke unfortunately couldn't get the job done.
Yeah, and if the hinting wasn't obvious enough for you, Seth Rollins did pick up Shinsuke and do a swing as well. They've made this pretty clear. That's where our WrestleMania collision is.
Yeah, but then the question becomes, what do you do with Shinsuke?
Battle Royal. As unfortunate as it is, I've looked into the Matrix. I've looked at all of the pieces of the puzzle for WrestleMania. I don't see a slot for him.
Well, then I don't see him on the card at all, because I don't think they do the Battle Royal.
Well, bad for Shinsuke, then. And it hurts. There's a possibility even though it's like weirdly cross-branded, they hinted at a thing with him and Riddle. But I don't think that trigger gets pulled at WrestleMania.
Yeah, especially with them being on different brands.
Yeah, it was a weird one to hint towards, and I don't truly understand it, but, hey, maybe, it's possible. But it is time to go into our entrance theme of the week, our song, our little bit of music for you in the middle, and it is going to be one of the Hall of Fame inductees for 2020 happening this year though, and that is the NWO. And you're back to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. I'm Grady, he's Josh, and we got 3 more matches on Fastlane to talk about. Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, no holds barred, almost a 20-minute slugfest.
Yeah, these two absolutely went to war again. They pulled out all the stops, except the only stop they didn't pull out was an actual stop sign, which if this was ECW, they would have absolutely would have. But yeah, Drew and Sheamus, they being best friends, they have the perfect chemistry together.
Mm-hmm.
I would have still have liked to see them do this for WrestleMania, because I'd rather have them at WrestleMania, because I think that would have been a nice little moment for them.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and Drew obviously had to win, because he's the number 1 contender for the WWE Championship. And Sheamus, I don't think Sheamus wasn't hurt by this, because he pretty much can go with anybody and have a great match, and he's never really hurt by any losses.
Yeah, I think officially in Z to PWI predictions I put Sheamus down. That was purely out of a heart pick, not a head pick. And yeah, when you look at these two guys, they're two guys that you can put together and they can just go. It's always crazy to see. 2 of my faves as well, so I watched all 20 minutes of this match. And when we were just talking about Shinsuke and we were like, I don't know what he's got at WrestleMania, I had that for Sheamus going into Raw of, I don't know what Sheamus has for WrestleMania. Is he going to sit on the bench? Which would be so weird after being so hot at these pay-per-views and with his Drew McIntyre feud, but it looks like he's fallen into a United States title match.
I'd be cool with that. I think that might bring out some of the best work from Riddle. Because as we said, Sheamus can go with anybody. He can make anybody look good. And I want to see if he can drag more out of Riddle than just the stoner.
Well, at the moment he, I believe, is still currently in the possession of Riddle's scooter after stealing it from him and smacking him in the gut with it. I know he had it on Raw Talk, so I gotta believe Sheamus still has it. But it should be a good match, all things considered, and we might get another Sheamus title run. We probably won't, but we might. There's a chance.
I'd be fine with that. I would be concerned considering that Riddle's only had the title for 2 months now.
Yeah, but Sheamus is Sheamus.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a case of I don't know what they want to do here. But it's definitely a case where, hey, let's elevate both of them. Let's do something with both of them. Let's have them have some crazy match at WrestleMania.
It should be good to see. But talking of crazy matches, on paper we had Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton, and now from memory, so I'm sorry if I get something wrong here, we have Alexa throwing up a wall of fire, which first off scares the ref away. Attempted murder by crashing some lights from the roof down on top of Orton, and then throwing a fireball at Orton before a zombified, resurrected Fiend reaches up out of the ring and attacks Randy Orton.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Not exactly the order it happened in, but yeah, that was what happened. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting case. Yeah, they were never going to... I guess I should have realized they were never going to actually let them wrestle.
Yeah.
But, they probably shouldn't have done the pin they did.
I was going to ignore the pin.
The referee was so scared of the burned up flesh-looking Fiend. He counted the 3 from outside the ring.
Do you blame him?
Not really. But yeah, it's just Orton's continuing to be tortured by Alexa Bliss, and now he has a mean, burned Fiend to have to deal with, and they have, in fact, announced Orton versus Fiend at WrestleMania.
Yeah, my only question with that, because we know those two will be going head-to-head on the grandest stage of them all, do you attempt to do a Firefly Funhouse match in a stadium with fans watching it on the screen?
Yeah, that would be a question. I don't think you can do it with an actual crowd. That said, they can't just do a straight up one-on-one match. Not after the Inferno match.
Yeah.
Or
this one where multiple magical powers were used by Alexa Bliss.
Yeah. Yeah, there's gotta be something. It may be straight up full-on cinematic match. They just may display it for the crowd. It's in person, I don't know. But it's just, this can't be a singles match. It's gotta have some kind of stipulation to it. And this time, Orton has to lose.
Oh no. To be fair, a lot of effort has been put into resurrecting the Fiend.
Yeah. It'd be like bringing The Undertaker back from after he'd been buried alive and then immediately beating him.
Yeah, I definitely don't see it happening. I think the Fiend walks out with the victory, especially if it's some sort of weird, goofy, goober cinematic match. He's got magic powers, man. Come on. You can't beat wizards.
You're a wizard, Brer. Yeah, it's just one of those situations where it's like we want to see what they're coming up with here, but we kind of know the outcome this time.
Yeah, and I think the return of live crowds is going to limit them potentially what they're going to be able to pull off. So, unless they are just going to play it up on a screen, so we'll have to wait and see as the weeks go on what develops between Orton, Bliss, and Wyatt. One match left on the Fastlane card. It is Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan with Edge as the special guest enforcer. All HE double hockey sticks breaks loose, and honestly, despite the fact that Roman Reigns is officially the winner, pretty indecisive.
Yeah, Reigns, for the first time ever, visibly tapped out. He didn't actually, but there was no referee to notice, so it's not an official tap out. But yeah, we kind of knew going into this that there was some wacky shenanigan was going to happen. I expected Edge to take a fall, to get knocked out at some point. But no, he wasn't knocked out. He just got hit by a chair from Brian, which kind of just angered him, and he took them both out. And so, yeah, it's a case where we pretty much almost have to expect a triple threat. And that's probably just so that somebody's in the ring to take the fall so that Roman doesn't have to lose directly.
Yeah, I think 100%. I think if there's a couple options, people have talked about a night 1 match and then a night 2 match, but I think the most likely option is a triple threat, and the most likely outcome of that is Edge pinning Daniel Bryan. Protect Roman Reigns, still is undefeated since his return, but get the title off him for a little while, and see what he does without it.
Yeah, it gives Edge that vindication moment from his return, and then we can see where they can go with Reigns' character without the title. Do we see the other Uso ever return?
Gotta be ready at this point.
Yeah. So, does it eventually spawn into a full-on stable? Does Apollo Crews actually join the group? We still have questions that that could still be answered. But yeah, I think they do need to get the title off of Roman, and as much as I'd rather not it be a triple threat, adding Daniel Bryan in to take the fall is perfectly fine with me.
And I did not fact check this person, so it could be completely and utterly wrong. I should always fact check off Reddit, but I was too busy. I believe someone said that night 2, or whichever night this match has been put on, is the 10-year anniversary of Edge's retirement speech. So even more everything lining up for an Edge title victory here at WrestleMania. Alright, let's jump over to NXT for 3 minutes. What can we get through real quick? We got Walter. He seems to be, after an unceremonious removal of Timothy Thatcher, seems to be feuding with Tommaso Ciampa, and somehow that earned Ciampa an NXT UK title match.
Yeah, I have no... Yeah, that's weird. I wasn't expecting it to be a title match, but we knew that match was going to happen. I can't imagine them putting the title on somebody who's not actually wrestling for NXT UK. But that said, at the same time, I can't, just like with Johnny Gargano, I just can't say I'm 100% sure that anything involving Tommaso Ciampa isn't going to happen.
Mm-hmm. I think as well on NXT UK Prelude, I think it's called, Walter's defending the title there as well, so he's got a couple defenses in a couple of days. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of that, but yes, I expect the Austrian to walk off with the belt still from both of those, and RIP Drake Maverick. It was a good 23 seconds.
Yeah, who did Drake Maverick pee in their Cheerios to get a match with Walter?
I have no idea, but it was clearly someone high up.
Yeah. Oh, they took him out in a body bag after the match.
So I want to talk real quickly about the NXT North American Championship, okay? Because it's pretty confusing at Stand and Deliver. I still don't know if I have my head around it. But there will be a Battle Royal on night 1 that includes Bronson Reed, Dexter Lumis, Kushida, Leon Ruff, Cameron Grimes, Austin Theory, Roderick Strong, LA Knight, Swerve Scott, Pete Dunne, Tyler Rust, and Jake Atlas. And then the final 6 or something go into a Gauntlet Eliminator match thing. And then the winner of that faces Johnny Gargano on night 2 for his NXT North American Championship.
Actually, the Gauntlet Eliminator match will happen on night 1. The Battle Royal happens on next week's NXT.
Okay.
But yeah, the last 6 would, I guess, be left standing for the 6 the Gauntlet Eliminator.
I think we can probably guess those 6, though.
Let's see here. I'm going to go with Dexter Lumis, Kushida, Bronson Reed, Pete Dunne, Jake Atlas, and Austin Theory.
Okay. I'm gonna swap out your Jake Atlas for an LA Knight, just because Knight and Reed are feuding. But other than that, yeah, I think you're pretty on the ball. And with those random crazy predictions out of the way now, that's all we got time for this week. It's been great talking to you.
Baby!
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/WrestlingRNDup. New links, and twitter.com/WrestlingRNDup. And we'll see you next week with everything from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT.